Mark Susnow is a speaker, thought leader, and executive life coach known for his unique ability to inspire others to believe in themselves. He is passionate about life being an exciting journey of discovery. His enthusiastic and inspiring presentations on change, leadership, and conflict resolution have received acclaim from thousands. Audiences have characterized his programs as inspirational, life-changing, and entertaining. Mark has led an interesting life involving multiple transitions. As a former trial attorney for 30 years, Mark was covered by the New York Times, Rolling Stone magazine, Boston Globe, and the San Francisco Chronicle. Mark is also a musician and often wondered what life would be like if he wasn't an attorney. In 2000, inspired by the new millennium, he decided to find out. Since then, he has devoted his skills to helping organizations and individuals develop the strategies and tools necessary to navigate the challenging climate of today's changing world. With that in mind, he has taught leaders how the power of communication can positively transform the dynamics of their organizations. Mark is the author of Dancing on the River, Navigating Life's Changes. He is also a co-author, along with Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, of 101 Great Ways to Improve Your Life. Recently, he published the ebook, Discover the Leader Within. Have Mark speak to your group and experience the energy that has inspired audiences time and time again.
Life still is a mystery. We have plans and it doesn't quite work out the way that we thought it would. And what do we do? What do we do? How do we deal with that? How do we deal with that great mystery? And so I looked at that. So often you're disappointed. You thought something was important and you find out it isn't. And I started to think about that there's this invisible web that really connects more than we realize. It brings us together with people that are like kindred souls. I think of this concept of gathering our tribe of kindred souls. We reach out, we connect with somebody, and we realize, wow, we have something in common. We have the same spirit. We care about the same thing. We have the same longings. And that's what we do. We reach out. We find out that there is this web. We have the same values. We want to be loved. We want to love and be loved. And we start to reach out. There's this energy that's connecting us all. And I think the time when I really embraced this great mystery was one New Year's Day. It had been raining in Marin for 3 straight weeks. And the sun started to clear, and these friends had told us that the salmon were running in Samuel Taylor Park. And for some reason, I knew that I wanted to go out there and see that. And so I got up, and I after about 10 minutes, all of a sudden the sun came out. It hadn't been out for 3 weeks, and there was the most incredible rainbow. And as I drove over the hill out into the valley, I came to where my friend told me the salmon were spawning. And I saw a guy by his truck. And I stopped, and I stopped my car, and it was raining. And I said, do you know where the salmon are spawning? And he went like that, over there. And I looked, and I walked from where I was, and I walked down toward that creek. And I saw these incredible reddish salmon spawning in about 18 inches of water. And I thought about how miraculous that was. The salmon that are born at that spot. This was 10 miles from the ocean. We're going to make it to the river. We're going to be in an estuary where they got acclimated to the salt water. And then they were going to go in the ocean for a few years, make it back to that same estuary, and the ones that survive make it up to the stream. So I realized there was something else going on, and that was a mystery. And so when you think about there's a mystery, there's also the mystery is in terms of us to really discover what it is that we really want to do. What is it we really want to do? What are we here for? And there's this incredible quote by Mark Twain, who's one of my favorite philosophers. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, and catch the trade winds in your sail. Dream, explore, discover. So what is it that you dream about that you put on hold? What are you going to explore about that dream? And what is that dream? What are you going to explore? What are you going to discover? And there's something that I want to leave you with, that Samuel Coleridge said it in the best way. And what he said was that, what if you went to sleep? And what if when you went to sleep, you dreamed? And what if when you dreamed that you went to heaven, and there plucked a strange and beautiful flower? And what if when you awoke, you had the flower in your hand? What then? What then? You have the flower in your hand. Enjoy it. What happens is that when you start to get more clarity about what your values are, you have to really start to reclaim your life. Because what happens is very few of us know how to say no. But what happens is we're always saying no in some way. If we're saying yes to working late, we're saying no to what really matters to us. I had a friend who was a brilliant social worker, and the agency wanted to fly her all over, and she just had an incredible way with people, and all she wanted to do was be with her family. And so she said no to the career advancement. She said no to working late because she knew what she really wanted to do, and she said yes to what she wanted. So learning to say no, we don't want to disappoint somebody. So learning to say no is so important for us to start to really look at what's important to us. What are our dreams? How many of us have dreams that we've given up on? Think about it. How many dreams have you really given up on? Things you wanted to do. You say, well, you know, it would have happened by now. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. We have reasons why we don't do things. We have excuses. And so when we start to really look at what our values are, and we start to create more balance in our life, create an ability to have better boundaries and to say no, then we start looking at what is it that I really want to do. There's another voice going on, and that other voice I call our VIP, our voice of inspiration and praise. It says, yes, you can. You can do that. And that voice that encourages you, say, good job. You really handled that well. So often you're with somebody, or I've experienced this anyway, when I'm with somebody, and I go, I can't believe I said that. And what did you think you were doing? And that voice goes on all the time, and of course, the other person, he didn't really think anything was wrong. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. I remember when I was a lawyer, there was a workshop I did with a group in San Francisco called the Actors Institute. And the participants was someone like myself, a trial lawyer. They were comedians, they were musicians, they were politicians. And the last half day, we gave a 10-minute performance. And after the performance, we wrote a written critique of our performance. And each participant also wrote a written critique of your performance. And this went on the whole afternoon. And what everybody noticed was that their critique of their own performance was much more severe, much harsher than the rest of the groups. And the instructor said one thing that I'll never forget. And that was, if you had to hire yourself, you'd never get a job. I was looking forward to getting on the plane and reading that book, and that's what I did. I got on the plane, I'm sitting there, and I could tell the guy next to me wanted to talk to me. He kind of kept looking at me like that, and I ignored him, and I kept reading, because I was really into the book now. I was halfway through. And he kept looking at me, and finally he said something to me, and I nodded, and I said, yeah. And then I kept reading. I didn't really want to engage him. And he tried one more time, and he said something to me about something that happened to him, that I had a similar experience, something very personal, something that I had never shared. And I realized that what we all want is to feel connected, but we don't know how to do it. And what I realize is there are 4 truths. If we integrate them into our lives, it can change the way that
all our relationships are, can make our relationships more powerful, deeper. And the first fundamental truth is to listen, to learn to listen, and to realize that what we all want is to feel connected. And we have to learn to listen to do that. But what do we mean by listening? What do we mean? Do we just listen to what someone is saying, what the words are? Because if we're just listening to the words, it becomes a ping pong match. They're saying something, and we're thinking about what they're saying so we can respond. And that's all it becomes, is this ping pong match. They say something, you think of a story in your life, and what happens? We're not connecting. And we integrate these 4 principles into our life. That can happen more often. And there's one more principle. It's that you have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility for having that conversation and for how it goes. And we'll have these kind of connections more often. And that will become the way our life is. So that wherever we go, we know we're going to have that connection that we all want.